A very good evening to all my dear students. Once again, on behalf of ICAI, we welcome each one of you for today's session. And as you all know that today we are going to complete chapter number 4, that is share capital and debentures. So all of you be very attentive throughout the class because today's topic is a little more technical as compared to what we have done in the previous classes, as we will be talking about section 62 till section 71. So around 10 to 11 sections will be covered in today's class, although many of the sections are very small sections in between, but still we'll be covering all of the remaining part today in this last class of share capital and debentures. Good evening, Navneet, Deepika, Adil, Shamli, Prerna, all those who have joined the class. A very warm welcome to each one of you. And I hope you have revised what we have done in the previous class. So let's quickly start with today's topic. Any doubts in the previous class? If you have, we have done the quick revision also about DVRs, about stocks, certificate of shares. Everything was revised in the next lectures also. And also number of questions related to these topics have been done. So today we will be covering further chapters. Oh my God, Harsh Mishra has written, ma'am, happy Teachers Day in advance because we will be meeting on Monday after today's class. Thank you so much, Harsh. That really makes me smile by reading these advanced Teachers Day wishes. Thank you. Good evening, Shamli. Good evening, Pooja B. All of you, welcome to the class. All right, so we have revised 47, 48, no doubts in 48. We have done questions also, variations, 49, 50, 52. You all remember securities issued at a premium. In the previous class, we have done detailed discussion on questions related to sweat equity shares also, and redemption of preference shares was done. Good evening, Prajapati. Thank you so much. Then we did redemption of preference shares in detail about the issue and redemption, maximum 20 years, and can go beyond 20 years, but not more than 30 years if it is an infrastructure company. Remember? And then this redemption can happen only out of the profits or proceeds of the fresh issue. However, the premium can be paid only out of the profits or security premium account. Again, if it is 133 company compliance, then only the profits can be used, security premium account will not be used. And whatever amount of the nominal amount of the shares redeemed is transferred to which account? Tell me. Thank you, Pooja B. Adil Khan, everyone. Indrani B. Mrs. Indrani B. Good evening, child. Very good, Shamli. CRR. It will be transferred to the CRR. Good evening, Pranav. Good answers. Yes, Deepika, capital redemption reserve. Anubhav Malik, good. Everybody has written the correct answer. It will be transferred to capital redemption reserve. And this capital redemption reserve can only be used for paying fully paid bonus shares, not for any other purpose. After that, we also did, if the company is not able to redeem the existing preference shares or even able to pay dividend, then it will file an appeal to the tribunal. 10% of the 3/4 of the holders shall be filing an appeal to the tribunal, and if the tribunal is satisfied, it will give 2 orders, either to redeem, and it will give the orders to redeem the preference shares, issue the further redeemable preference shares, and once the further redeemable preference shares have been issued, it will deem to have been, the preference shares which were unredeemed shall deem to have been redeemed. Okay. The transfer and transmission that is coming in my mind was in the case of 10%. Yahan pe tha aapka transfer and transmission. So section 56 bhi humne previous class mein kara tha. I hope no doubts in section 56. Let's have a quick revision from this table. If the company has, if it's a private company and you have gone with your transfer deed, 1 month's time period is taken by the company to file the application and do the transfer. But if it sends the refusal notice within next 30 days, you can file an appeal to the tribunal. If no notice has been sent, then within the next 60 days, you can file an appeal to the tribunal. Tribunal's order shall come within next 10 days and will ask for the transfer of the shares to be done or the rectification of registers to be done. Any contravention, fine and penalty, same penalty as given under section 57 will be followed in section 58 also. The only difference in case of public companies, the time period, that is 60 days and 90 days. ठीक है बच्चा. And transmission में we only give the intimation of transmission. There is no need of transfer deed because transfer deed तो हम transferor and transferee के case में बनाते हैं. But transmission में तो the person has already died, his son, succession, legal representatives will be getting the shares. So he will not come and file the any deed or something. The person will have to give the notarized certificate of the death certificate of the person and get the shares transmitted in his name. ठीक है, सबको याद है सेक्शन 56, 57, 58 सब रिवीजन हो गया. सेक्शन 59 क्या? सेक्शन 59 शायद हमने नहीं करा, छोटा सा एक सेक्शन है, फटाफट से लेट्स डू इट. Grounds of appeal regarding rectification of register. If the name of any person is entered in the register or has been omitted to enter, or there is an unnecessary delay, मैंने शेयर्स लिए हैं आपकी कंपनी में या फिर मुझे शेयर्स ट्रांसफर हुए हैं, बट आप मेरा नाम नहीं एंटर कर, you have not entered my name in the register, or you have failed to enter it, or you're refusing to enter it, or you're making any unnecessary delay, then I, being an aggrieved person, I will file a case for this rectification of the register to the tribunal or to any competent court outside India specified by CG in respect of the debenture holders or members who are residing outside. So again, register of members की बात कर रहा है. इतनी ज्यादा इसने बात करी है register of members की, और मैंने आपको बोला हर बार कि हम register of members MGT में पढ़ेंगे, हम meetings के बारे में, resolutions के बारे में MGT में पढ़ेंगे. So much of the word MGT I have used, so we have decided to take up the next topic, MGT only. So on Monday, you will understand with me what is the meaning of these register of members. In detail, we will be discussing about these registers starting from section 88. So that you have a fair idea about management and administration of the companies, because we keep on using these words about resolutions being passed, meetings being held, voting rights being given. So it's very important that you understand what is the meaning of those words in detail. So if your name has not been entered, then we will file an appeal to the tribunal. This is the right which is given to the member to file an appeal to the tribunal. What will happen then? Tribunal will give a hearing to the person who has filed an appeal and direct the transfer to be done within 10 days or to rectify the registers and pay the damages and compensation. The same way as we were passing the orders in section 58, we will pass the orders in section 59. This section also protects the rights of the holders of the security to transfer the securities. Any person will be entitled to voting right unless the voting rights have been suspended. So also the voting rights will be given to you, because if aapka naam enter ho gaya, you're a shareholder, you will also get the voting rights. Where the transfer is in contravention of any law, he will direct the company to set right the contravention and rectify the registers. Again, same order, the tribunal has the power to pass the rectification of registers order, or he will say that the transfer should be done in the next 10 days to be taken care of. All right. Mr. Santosh Kumar, welcome to the class. Good evening. After that, children, we have already done section 61. Alteration of share capital is now what we're going to do further. Section 61 we have done. Quickly write down 5 methods in the chat box. What are the various ways of altering the share capital of a limited company? So it is increase in the authorized share capital. It can be subdivide and consolidate. Very good. It can be reducing, consolidating and dividing. It can be conversion of shares into debt into securities. Conversions can happen. Subdivide can happen where you're reducing 10 rupees per share. Now you're making 8 rupees per share. 100 rupees per share, you're making 80 rupees per share. Or you can do the cancellation of the share capital. The unsubscribed capital which is not taken up by the public shall be cancelled. So ये 5 points अगर आपको याद है ना बेटा, फिर आप आराम से लिख सकते हो. Pointers याद रखा करो. Consolidation, subdivision, increase, cancellation and conversion. Then you can write it in your own language. Then comes your rights issue section 62. Very, very important section. Section 62 basically talk about the further issue of share capital. How we are going to raise the share capital under section 62 we will be understanding three different methods. One is rights issue, one is ESOPs, and if not by rights and ESOPs, then to any non-members through cash or consideration other than cash. Under section 62, we do detailed discussion about the further issue of share capital. किस तरह से हम और capital raise कर सकते हैं? How we can increase the subscribed share capital of the company. Under section 62, we'll understand. And then we'll do section 63, 66, and 63. All right, so geared up for section 62. Now, these topics that I have written over here was just to give you a limelight that all these topics are very much related to your accounts part. So stay attentive because much of the accounting part will be coming in between and you will going to be answering the same as well. So reducing the share capital or dividing it, reconstructing, cancelling, all these terms you have heard in accounts. Now we are going to understand its law part. Okay. Equalizing assets with share capital. Okay, that's great, Anil. So good, you have mentioned all the correct points. So equalizing assets with share capital was something that I have given you as a starting point of reduction of share capital, right? Where my capital has been unrepresented or lost, then I cancel that subscribed share capital. Okay, Anil? So that also I'm going to take up. Children, I have not started with reduction of share capital. I gave you a brief overview in the last class, I remembered. But again, after 62, 63, we will do in detail. Reduction of share capital, full complete topic we'll be doing in today's class. Okay. So let's start with further issue of share capital, section 62, which I generally call rights issue also. फटाफट से मुझे बता दो, what is the meaning of rights issue? It's a preemptive subscription rights given to the existing shareholders to buy additional securities in a company in order to raise the capital. I am a company ABC Private Limited. I am in need of money. I have 5 shareholders in my company A, B, C, D, E. Can I give rights issue? Can I ask, can I raise my share capital by giving the rights to the existing shareholders? I'm a private company. Can I do a rights issue? Yes or no? Anubhav Malik says yes, ma'am. Shamli says yes, ma'am. Absolutely correct. Whether you're a public company or you're a private company, all of you, Deepika says yes. Very good. Geeta, Pooja P, excellent. Prerna, Prajapati, nice. So everybody can raise their share capital by giving the shares to the existing share capitals. Pranav. Right. So now it is a preemptive subscription rights, means एक हक दिया है, एक right दिया है. For example, ABC ने कहा 1:10. This is the ratio that a company has calculated. That means if you're holding 10 shares, you can take up 1 more. If you're holding 20 shares, you can take up 2 more. You're holding 50 shares, take up 5 more. 1:10 is the ratio which the company, for example, I'm saying it can be any ratio, 3:2, 2:5, whatever you want. So 1:10 is the ratio which the company is offering, that if you want in respect of 10 shares that you're holding, you can have 1 share more in my company. So it's a right given to the existing shareholders to buy additional securities in company's existing security holders and on the pro rata basis. So if you're holding 50 shares, 1:10 ratio, 5 shares more you can hold. Company is trying to raise its subscribed share capital by further issuing the shares. So कह रहे बाहर जाने की बजाय प्रोस्पेक्टस इशू करूंगा, बाहर जाऊंगा, कंपनी पैसा डिमांड करेगी आउटसाइडर से, बेटर है जो पहले एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स हैं उनसे पूछ लिया जाए कि क्या आप मेरी कंपनी में और शेयर्स लेना चाहते हो. इन इंग्लिश, instead of going outside and asking money from the people, asking them to subscribe to the shares, I am going to my own existing shareholders and asking them that, do you want to buy more shares in my company in order to increase my own subscribed share capital? So company is in need of money. It is issuing the shares to the existing shareholders. That is where section 62 comes into picture, rights issue. So number 1 point is shares are issued to the holders of equity shares existing on the date of such. So whosoever is my equity shareholder, if you have sold your shares last month and you're no longer my equity shareholder, then I will not be selling. You should be existing on the date of such offer. You should be my existing shareholder. It will be given in proportion to the paid up capital. I just explained you whatever ratio I'm giving in proportion to whatever capital you're holding, the shares will be offered. Point number 2, how am I going to tell you? Am I going to give an ad in the newspaper? Am I going to publish it on the website of the company that I'm announcing the rights? No. I will send a letter of offer. A notice will be sent to the shareholders specifying the number of shares that the company is offering and the time period within which this offer should be accepted. So let's go back to our example, ABC Private Limited having 5 shareholders and 1:10 is the ratio proportion that has thought of sending the notice. So ABC Private Limited will make a notice and it will send this notice to all the shareholders A, B, C, D, E, 5 shareholders, specifying that this is 1:10 proportion that I'm coming out with the rights issue. And second point, it will tell them, please subscribe to these rights within 10 days, 15 days, 8 days, whatever the time period. So what is this time period, ma'am? Can I give 10 days? It says the time should not be less than 15 days or such lesser amount of days as may be prescribed, but not exceeding 30 days. Okay, the minimum 15 days time period has to be given. So I will tell Mr. A, shareholder, at least 15 days, but not more than 30 days. So minimum time period that A will take to give an answer that yes or no, I want to take these right shares or not, is minimum 15 days and maximum 30 days. Beyond 30 days, the offer is said to be declined, means he has not accepted. Or such number of lesser days as may be prescribed. Now, 2021, an amendment happened and Rule 12A was inserted, which said that minimum days can now be reduced to 7. So earlier it was 15 to 30 days and now it is minimum 7 days and maximum 30 days. If this offer is not accepted within the time period, then it will be considered that this offer has been declined. Confirm the right to re-announce all or any of the shares to the existing shareholders in favor of some other person unless the article provides otherwise. Now, what is this third point? Third point says, I gave this rights issue to Mr. A, the shareholder. Mr. A want to re-announce this right to his wife, Mrs. A. Can he do that? Law says if article is not prohibited, agar article of association mana nahi kar raha hai, if it is not restricting it, then yes, a member can re-announce his shares rights to somebody else. So Mr. A can re-announce his right. Re-announce means to give his right to somebody else. Yes, he can re-announce his right to in favor of someone else. Clear all the points? So what are these 3 points? Number 1, existing shareholders in proportion of the paid capital will be given the right issue. Number 2, a letter of offer will be sent to them in the form of notice. Notice will specify the number of shares to be offered and the time period. What is the time period limit in the chat box? Minimum 15, maximum 30 days. What is the amendment 2021 amendment says? Minimum 7 days. Where it is written, ma'am? In the study material. So let me first show you where it is written in the study material so that we all are on the same page. Everybody understands what I'm talking about. I hope everybody knows authorized share capital is the maximum capital in the memorandum and called up capital is the capital that has been paid and called which for the payment. Okay. And paid up is the one which has been paid. And how does the alteration happens? By passing a resolution at general meeting. So it was OR, remember? And within 30 days, you have to give a notice also to the registrar of companies. So this is what we have started today. Further issue of share capital is rights issue. Preferential allotment means preference will be given to the existing shareholders. If a company announces 1:10 rights issue, it means a shareholder existing shareholder can buy one extra share for every 10 shares held by him. Usually the price at which they're issued is less than the prevailing market price to encourage the subscription. Can anyone explain me the meaning of this line? If I am having the share price of ₹10 per each, the current prevailing market price of my share is ₹10. Can I give the rights issue for ₹7 per share? Can I have it less than the prevailing market price? Yes or no? So that they are my existing shareholders now. I know them. So I'm giving them a right that yes, you can subscribe to my shares at a lesser price. Does it mean that I'm giving them a discount? 7 to 30 beta, I will explain you अनुभव. अभी मैं आपको बताती हूँ 7 to 30 याद रखना. Yes, the price has to be decided by the company. Navneet Maurya, very good. So what will you do? Yes, you can do. This is not the discount that I'm offering to you. This is the lesser price that I'm giving, because shares at discount can only be opted in two cases. One, it is sweat equity shares, and when you are doing the debt restructuring scheme, when you're giving the shares to the creditors, only in those two cases under section 53, we can issue the shares at discount. This is not issuing of the shares at discount. Mind it. Because many students at time feel that मैम ने 10 का 7 में दे दिया तो प्राइस कम कर दिया, तो ये तो आपने डिस्काउंट दे दिया. नो, वी आर नॉट गिविंग एनी डिस्काउंट. Okay, everybody understood this much point? So lesser prevailing rate we can have. Now this is just a small practical insight that they have shown you, that company was in need of its finance for repayment and borrowing has been given. So you can just read it. It's just a practical question that has been given. Ratio of 5 shares were held as per the records. Re-announced can be done. Current market price is given. So everything, you can just give it a fair reading just to understand how the subscription happens, and the post allotment, the shares are listed on the stock exchange. So this much amount they have spent on the rights issue. This is just for understanding, children. Nothing much to learn in this. Okay. So Zealand Energy Limited, October 2022, they have issued the rights. They have just given you the practical aspect of understanding how these rights are issued to the shareholders and how they can take it. Very good, Mr. Chavan. Absolutely good. So if you're a listed company or you're getting your shares listed, then provisions of SEBI have to be complied for rights issue. But if you're a public company, which is not a listed company, or you're a private company, then provisions of Companies Act will be applicable. Simple. क्या लिखना है यहाँ पे अपने words में? If you're a listed company, SEBI has to be complied. If you are unlisted public company or you're a private company, then chapter of Companies Act, chapter 4 has to be good. Now let's understand how does the rights issue happen. It says shares can be further issued by offering rights issue. Special resolution has to be passed and offer will be sent through notice. मैंने अभी आपको बताया ना, offer letter भेजेंगे notice के through, and SR is required. ESOPs issue हो सकते हैं. Employee stock options. What is the meaning of ESOPs? ESOPs means options are given to the employees who are working with me just to retain them, giving a major motivation that, company will give you shares also, benefit I'm giving to my employees. So a vesting period is given. Say, for example, I am a company, I have given ESOPs to my employees and 2 years vesting period. Means you have to be working with me for 2 years. And after the 2 years, whatever is the vesting price, whatever is the predetermined exercise price, you can take the shares at that price. So there is a granting and vesting period for which the ESOPs have to be kept. They are granted, then they have a vesting period, and on the date of exercise, they will use the exercise price and get their stocks converted into shares. All right. For this also special resolution is required. And to any person, means here you're giving to the existing shareholders, here you're giving to the employees, or to any non-members for cash or non-consideration, then also special resolution is required. So in detail, we will do clause A, clause B, and clause C. Okay. First, we are doing clause A. तो यहाँ पे heading लिखिए, section 62 subsection 1, clause A. On page number 4.50, write down the heading. First topic that we're doing is rights issue. So company will issue the rights to the existing shareholders in proportion to the paid up capital. अभी जो हमने पढ़ा मेरे उसमें से summary में से, in proportion to the paid up capital, notice will be given. Time period, it should not be less than 15 days or such lesser number of days as may be prescribed. अब उसने law में लिख दिया ना, or such lesser number days. Now they have prescribed, provided the time period shall not be less than 7 days from the date of offer, and this was prescribed on 11th February 2021. So the minimum time period is now 7 days, maximum is 30. Time period within which the offer shall be made for acceptance shall not be less than 7 days. So minimum means company can ask you after 10 days, have you decided or not? So minimum 7 days time period has to be given, maximum 30 days. Okay. If the offer is not accepted within the time period, it is declined, means aapne mana kar di. Do we have the right to renounce in favor of other? Yes, ma'am, we can. If the offer is declined, then an intimation of such decline should be given to him. Board of directors may dispose of them in such a way that it is not disadvantageous to the shareholders of the company. What is he trying to tell you? I have given you the rights issue, 1:10. And this offer was made to Mr. A. And I said, please tell me within 10 days whether you want to accept the offer or not. He did not reply in 10 days. Maximum period 30 days was allowed. He did not reply in 30 days also. That means expiry of the specified time. If I have given 10 days, then he should reply in 10 days. If I have not given 10 days, then minimum 7 to 30 days he should reply. If he does not reply, maximum within 30 days also, board of directors will dispose of these rights. Hum nahi dete. This right shares that I have offered to you will be declined, disposed. How will you dispose it? In a manner which is beneficial to the shareholder. It should not be disadvantageous, means in any of the way which should be advantageous for the shareholders of the company. Whatever way they decide, it should be beneficial for the shareholders, not disadvantageous. While determining the proportion, then as nearly as the circumstances admits shall be acceptable. So you have to carefully determine what proportion of share capital are you giving to the shareholders. In case you are a private company, now this is very, very, very important. Examiner asks you questions out of this. If you are a private company, or a specified IFSC private public company, then you, if 90% of the members give their consent in writing, then you can, a shorter period to accept the offer can also be provided. Or an electronic mode for such shorter period. So if you have given your consent in writing or in any other electronic mode, then if you are a private company or IFSC public company, which is not defaulted in their return payments and annual returns, then you can also ask for the shorter time period to accept the offer. So law says it should not be less than 7 to 30 days. But private company said, I want to have it minimum 2 days. You will have to reply me whether you want to accept the rights or not. So if 90% of the members have given their consent in writing, then you can have a shorter period of this notice. Now, how will we decide this shorter period of notice? There is a very interesting case study which is given over here. Let's do that first, and then we will come back to these topics. What shall be the length of the period specified by the notice of offer for the further shares by giving acceptance? मतलब वो कह रहे हैं हिंदी में कितनी देर का नोटिस पीरियड देना चाहिए जब तक वो अपनी एक्सेप्टेंस को रिप्लाई करे. अब how you have to write in the exam, so we will learn in the same way as it is given in the study material, that the notice for further shares shall specify the time period should not be less than 15 days, but not more than 30 days. However, new rule 12A has given the time period of not less than 7 days. So you will have to tell them 15 to 30 days, but as per the rule 12A, it is now 7 days can be the minimum time. So there was a notice of rights issue which was dispatched to the holders at their registered email ID. But first we have to read this point also. How the notice has to be dispatched? How will you dispatch this notice for the further issues? This will be dispatched through registered post, speed post, or any other electronic mode or courier or any other method having a delivery, proof of delivery to all the existing shareholders at least 3 days before the opening of the issue. Any shorter length that is less than 3 days is also acceptable if 90% of the members have given their consent and right. अब देखो दो जगह शॉर्ट पीरियड की बात है. यहां पे भी कह रहा है कि अगर प्राइवेट कंपनी चाहे तो शॉर्टर नोटिस पीरियड दे सकती है, shorter time period to accept the offer if they have taken consent in writing of the 90% of the members. Here he is trying to tell you at least 3 days before the opening of the issue, notice shall be dispatched, and again any shorter length that is less than 3 days can be given if 90% of the members in writing have agreed. Let's do example 21, then it will become crystal clear. The notice for the rights shares dispatched to the holders at their registered email ID. Can we do it by email ID? Yes, ma'am. You just told us. Can be through registered post, speed post, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मोड मींस ईमेल्स भी कर सकते हो, कोरियर भी कर सकते हो, प्रूफ होना चाहिए. अब मैंने मेल से करा तो मेरे पास प्रूफ है. 2 days in advance to opening of the issue. Children, how many days in advance it should be done? It should be, the notice should be sent 3 days before the opening of the issue. How many days he's sending? 2 days. Out of 4,230 members, 3,000 members holding 95% of the shares have acknowledged the mail and consented to the shorter length. Despite the mode of dispatching notice and consent of the members, the shorter length period is valid. The notice stands invalid because at least 90% of the members should have given their consent. How many members are giving their consent? 3075 divided by 4230 karo zara. 72% have given their consent. So here the number of members who have given the consent is not valid. So shorter period valid notice will not be valid. Why? Because it is not the shareholding which has to be seen. It is the number of members should be 90% of the members. So if I tell you there are 100 members of a private company, how many members should have given their consent in writing? Everybody says 90. Very good. Very good. Then you can have a shorter period. Very good. If it is 200, you have to take 7 to 30 days, Harsh Mishra. 180. Very good, Krishna. Abhinav Mishra. Good. Good evening, Abhinav. Jaya Manocha. Re-announce means Jaya Manucha, re-announce means to give it in favor of somebody else. So can I give my rights, re-announce them in favor of someone else? Yes, law has given you this liberty to re-announce unless the articles prohibit. Agar articles mein kaha hai, no, you don't have any right to re-announce, then you can. Yes, Pranav, rights issue, special resolution will be required. Very good, Santosh, 180, Anubhav Malik, 180, absolutely correct. Anubhav Malik, it is not a discount. I am giving a privilege that you can buy the shares at lesser price. So मैंने अपने rights issue में कह दिया कि आप 7 rupees का ले लो या 8 rupees का. It is the price that I have given to them because they are existing shareholders. So you will not call them the issue of shares at discount because section 53 prohibits the issue of shares at discount. Shorter period can be 1 day, yes, Navneet. If 90% of the members have consented, then of course, why not? Very good, Adil Khan. Everybody, 180 is the correct answer. सबको समझ आ गए यहाँ तक? Okay. Let's understand ESOPs also, or you want to do the summary from my notes first? First, I will take you in my notes because all these points are very systematically written in the notes. So, rights issue. Okay, we will refer to study material. So we have seen the points in the notes, 7 days, 15 to 30 days. Now it is 7 days. So it should not be less than 3 days before the opening of the issue. And if private company, 90% of the members are consented, we can have a shorter period notice also. Let's go back to ESOPs. This everything is clear over here. If the offer is declined, then it should be disposed of in a manner which is beneficial to the shareholders. Now, second point is, can we issue ESOPs to the shareholders? Yes, ESOPs can be issued. A special resolution is required to be passed. ESOPs के केस में हमने क्या याद करना है? It is the option given to the directors, officers, or employees of the company or holding and subsidiary company, that direction is given that you can have the right to purchase the shares of the company at the future date at predetermined price. So whatever two years vesting period I'm giving them, I have given them the price today only, that at ₹10 you can buy my shares after 2 years. So it's a predetermined price for a future date, and after 2 years, if they have been continuing to be my employees, they will go and buy these shares and they get these options converted into, they will get this converted into shares. Okay. Special resolution is required to be passed. So you can offer these options to the directors, officers, or employees of the company or holding or subsidiary company. So can a company ABC Limited has a subsidiary company PQR Limited? ये लिख लिया करो बेटा साथ में. Please write these questions in your registers or notebooks so that you remember. And there is a shareholder T of PQR Limited, which is subsidiary of ABC Limited. The directors of ABC Limited want to issue ESOPs to Mr. T, who is an employee officer of their subsidiary company. Can they do that? Yes, ma'am. ESOPs can be issued to the employees, officers, directors of holding or subsidiary company, provided special resolution has been passed. However, if you are a private company, if you are an IFSC public company, or you are a listed company who is following SEBI rules and regulations, then ordinary resolution is required. तो किसके केस में required है? Public company के केस में required है. Unlisted public company हो तो आप special resolution pass करना. If you are a listed public company or IFSC public company or a private company which is not defaulted in these returns, then you can pass an ordinary resolution. Clear to everyone? Very good, Pooja. Aditya, investing a share in companies. Aditya, it's absolutely legal. You're buying the shares, you're giving the options. Mustafa, very good. SR will be required. Miss Muthu Lakshmi, good. Shamli and Pranav, good answer. If AO priorly includes a permission still, yes, special resolution will be required. AO should not be prohibiting Pranav. That is what it is trying to tell. Is that clear, everyone? So he can ask you a question. ESOP में क्या याद रखना है? ESOP होता क्या है? Employees को हम option दे रहे हैं at a future date, predetermined price पे shares purchase करने हैं, special resolution pass करनी है. इन 3 cases में ordinary resolution pass करनी है. Notes बना लेने हैं, लिख लेना है, make it and write it down in your notes. Okay? Everybody is clear till here. Conditions as given under Rule 12A, but they have not explained Rule 12A over here. Have they given you 12A? They have not given. So Rule 12A is very, very vast. I think they have removed it. Earlier they have given it. So Rule 12A has all the rules and regulations. Who can be the employee? If you are a promoter and director holding more than 10% of the shares, then ESOPs cannot be issued. But there is an exception. If you're a startup company, then you can be given. So they have removed all these rules. So we will not get into that. We will only do SR is required and OR is required and following. Clear? Now, third category, to any person, if so authorized by special resolution, even if they are not within the 2 categories mentioned above. Who were the 2 categories above? This section 62(1)(a) is existing shareholders. बच्चा देखो लिखा हुआ है ना, special resolution and offer through notice. Even if AO is allowing, you have to pass special resolution. Okay, you will have to pass special resolution. Company increases its capital, holder of existing shareholders in proportion, notice is given, time period has to be remembered, and if it is not accepted, it is declined, it should be disposed in such a manner which is beneficial. Private company can send for the shorter time period to accept the offer if 90% have consent. ESOP, SR याद रखना है, OR in 3 cases में याद. To any person which are not following means who is not a member, not an employee, so means यहाँ पे लिख लो, means special resolution can be passed and shares can be offered to non-members. Then such offer can be for cash or for consideration other than cash. ठीक है मैम, हम शेयर्स दे देते हैं. फर्दर इश्यूज थ्रू द मैनर प्रोवाइडेड अंडर 62(1) हम कर लेते हैं. एसआर पास कर कर हम नॉन मेंबर्स को भी इशू कर सकते हैं शेयर्स. फॉर कैश भी कर सकते हैं. फॉर कंसिडरेशन अदर देन कैश मींस मैंने शेयर्स दिया, आपने मुझे प्रॉपर्टी दी. मैंने शेयर्स दिया, आपने मुझे कैश की बजाय कुछ और. But in case of non-cash consideration, how will we determine the price? As per the valuation report of registered value. So, ma'am, section 62, 1C may, we only have to learn 2 points, that is to non-members I am giving. The shares SR will be passed. It can be for cash or non-cash. If it is for non-cash, registered valuer will tell the valuation report how the valuation has to be done. Clear हो गया? Question कर. A company listed at Bombay Stock Exchange wants to offer the shares to non-members. Non-members है तो कौन सा सेक्शन आएगा? जल्दी से चैट बॉक्स में. Non-members है तो कौन सा सेक्शन आएगा? That is what we are discussing. Navneet, non-cash consideration will be determined by the registered valuer. Registered valuer होते हैं जो जिनसे हम valuation कराते हैं. अब अगर मैं देख रही हूँ, suppose मैंने property देखी, मुझे लग रहा है यार 1 crore की है. So I am telling as a layman, what is the actually value of the property? They are the registered values who have the good knowledge about the market area. They will provide us the report. On the basis of that, the valuation. (62) subsection 1 clause C. Deepika, Jaya, everybody has given the correct answer. Good. Existing members considered these offer as invalid as per the provisions of 62(1)(a). However, the company is not prohibited while offering the shares to non-members. It only needs to pass a special resolution. New shares can be issued to non-members under certain circumstances. उसने हमें कोई circumstances नहीं दिए, Rule 13 भी नहीं बताया. उसे सिंपल बताया कि दे देना, एसआर पास कर देना, और अगर नॉन कैश है तो रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यू से वैल्यूएशन करा लेना. दैट्स इट. जितना लिखा है उतना ही लर्न करना है. It is written that the rules, Rule 13, it has prescribed the method, conditions. We don't have to, because it's not given. So we'll not do it. Right? If you still feel like, you can go to the MCA website and you can read the rules, Rule 12 and Rule 13, just for your knowledge. Like we did the discussion of Rule 9 and 9A TMAT, but why to increase the syllabus when it's already so much? All right. Okay. Now, before I move to government bonds, let's do a small topic of bonus shares, because we have done a little heavy topic. Bonus shares are very, very simple. This section 62 I will take up in a while, because again it's a little heavy, but let's make you accept section 62 1A B C. का नोट का थर्ड पॉइंट समझ नहीं आया. अनुभव, थर्ड पॉइंट में बेटा वो सिंपल कह रहा है कि आप ऑर्डिनरी रेजोल्यूशन भी पास कर सकते हो अगर आप प्राइवेट कंपनी हो, आईएफएससी पब्लिक. अगर आप लिस्टेड कंपनी हो तो सेबी की कंडीशंस कंप्लाई कर लेना, सिंपल. So I told you basically a listed public company is required to follow SR, and in these two companies it is OR. Listed companies, conditions given under SEBI, share-based benefit regulations shall be observed. Means if you're a listed company, यहाँ पे भी तो लिखा था, अगर आप listed company हो तो आप SEBI follow करो, unlisted हो, public company and private company हो तो Companies Act के provisions follow. All right. All right, let's do it in sequence only. Section 62 will not be applicable on conversion of debentures loan into equity shares. First of all, tell me, what do you understand by conversion of debt into equity? Can we convert the debt into equity? I wanted to show you a very nice case study today, taken from the news, so that we have some practical insights of how we are doing it. So will you be interested in looking into the case study? Can we convert the debt into security? Do you have any knowledge about that? So it is known as basically debt equity swap, where the company is not having much of the money to repay the loans that they have taken, and now they are trying to convert it back into the shares. Okay. So first I will do the topic with you, and then I will show you very, very interesting case study also. So sometimes what happens, students, sometimes conversion of debentures or a loan into equity shares will lead to increase in the authorized share capital. Now, this is a different topic. Exception यहाँ पे आप heading दे लो. Conversion of debt into equity. Conversion of debt into equity. Now, what is it saying? It says section 62 will not be applicable on conversion of debentures or loans into equity share. What is the meaning of debentures? Debenture is also a kind of a loan. So instead of giving the shares, we have issued the debentures. So can we get these? Yes, Jaya Manocha. Internal reconstructions, very good. I told you your accounts are going to come into picture today. Adil Khan, I will explain you the sweat equity and ESOPs difference. Just remind me in a minute. Pooja Balal, explain once again from second point. Which point, beta? Please write down which point are you asking. So many second points now. Okay, first listen here. Ashilesha, okay, very good. So section 62 means SR is not required if you're converting your debentures into equity, means you're increasing your subscribed share capital of the company. So you are Mr. A who has given a loan to my company, and company had to repay the loan, but now company is not having sufficient money. So company said, instead of repayment of the loan, why don't you take shares in my company? Why don't you take part in these stakeholders? Why don't you become owners in my company? So I have converted my debentures into equity shares. Subsection 3 of section 62 means section 62 subsection 3 will not be applicable to such increase in share capital if such terms and conditions under which conversion took place. So basically it is talking about convertible debentures. Convertible debentures. I can convert my debentures by passing a special resolution at the time of issue prior to the issue of debentures. Means when my debentures were issued, we have already passed the special resolution. Then now on conversion, I don't need to pass the S. Write down in your notes. If at the time of issue of debentures, you have already passed the special resolution and decided that the conversion will take place, when at the time of issue of debentures, we have already passed the special resolution and decided that the conversion shall take place, then no SR is required at the time of conversion. Then no SR is required at the time of conversion. Clear हो गया? अब कहता है compulsory conversion of debentures and loans from government. गवर्नमेंट ने अगर मुझे कोई लोन दिया है तो गवर्नमेंट मुझे फोर्स कर सकती है पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट में कि अब मुझे लोन रीपेमेंट की बजाय आप शेयर्स दे दीजिए. In English, if government has given certain loan to my company and now after 5 years this loan was to be repaid, I said, okay, government, take your repayment of loan. Government said, no, in the public interest, I want to become a stakeholder in your company. I don't want you to give me back my loan. I want you to give me shares in your company. And that is how the government becomes the ownership and get the stakeholder rights in the company. So conversion of debentures or loans given by the government into shares. Government, if in the public interest, can ask for this compulsory conversion, and it will be done as per the terms and conditions of the government. Even if some terms do not provide the option for conversion, means even if it was not said earlier that these are convertible, then also government can convert. So write down conversion of debentures लिखा ही हुआ. Compulsory conversion. Government के loans पे compulsory conversion है. Other than government के loans में SR pass करना पड़ेगा at the time of issue of debentures. अगर government के loans and debentures है, SR उसर कुछ नहीं pass करना. Government अगर चाहे तो convert भी करा सकती है अपने debt को shares. But before doing this conversion, government will see the financial position of the company. I hope the company is doing well. I will take up the stakes in your company only if you're a good company. And also will see the terms of the issues of debentures, rate of interest कितना पे कर रहे थे. तो अब मैं shares, देखो मुझे मैंने debentures दिए थे, आप मुझे क्या पे कर रहे थे? Interest. अब मैं शेयर होल्डर बन जाऊंगी, क्या पे करोगे आप? जल्दी बताओ. I was government. I have given you loan. Debentures were raised. You were giving me interest. Now I'll become the shareholder. I will get dividend in your company. Excellent. Very good. So I'm becoming and I'm getting ownership rights. Okay. That is what I'm trying to acquire in your company. So I will see your financial position, terms of issues, rate of interest, and other factors. And when such shares are taken by the government, authorized share capital of the company is increased by the amount of value which has been converted, and memorandum will be ऑथराइज शेयर कैपिटल इंक्रीज हुई तो सेक्शन 13 में किसको ऑल्टर कर देना? एमओए को ऑल्टर कर देना, क्योंकि आपकी ऑथराइज शेयर कैपिटल बढ़ गई. 1 करोड़ के शेयर्स थे, 1 करोड़ का लोन था, 1 करोड़ का लोन शेयर्स में कन्वर्ट हो गया, तो 2 करोड़ की ऑथराइज शेयर कैपिटल बढ़. So when authorized share capital of the company has increased because of this conversion, what do you need to alter? Memorandum of association. Section 62 is not applicable to Nidhi companies. If you're a Nidhi company, no need to pass SR or anything. Interest of the shareholders are protected. There is no compliance requirement of Section 62. And if you're not happy with this conversion, or company is really disturbed, we never wanted government to have a stake in my company. I just issued debentures and I thought that after 5 years I will repay or whatever is the time period. So if this angry company is not happy with the conversion, then it can file an appeal to the tribunal within 60 days from the government's order, and tribunal, after hearing the government and company, will pass whatever orders they have. So government can compulsory ask for the conversion of debentures into shares if it is in the public interest on such terms and conditions as it deemed fit, even if there was no option of conversion earlier. If you're not happy, file an appeal to the tribunal in 60 days. Tribunal will pass the order. Government has to see these following things while passing the conversion orders. And once this order has been passed, authorized share capital is increased and memorandum gets altered. Is that clear to everyone? So what is this debt equity ratio? Let's do a little practical part just to have a small understanding. So this is a scenario where XYZ company is facing financial difficulties because of high level of debt. So it says debt equity swap is a financial transaction where your equity and preference shareholders are exchanged into debt is exchanged into shares. So this is a hypothetical example. XYZ Limited owns 50 crore to its lenders through bank loans and bonds, and the company's operations are struggling. It is very challenging to repay such loans. Therefore, company has decided to use a debt equity swap with the creditors. They will consider these negotiations and the idea of conversion. After discussion, they will agree to a debt equity ratio. If they have decided to convert it, the agreed 20 crore of debt is converted into equity shares at the current market price. Let's assume it is 200. So company will issue 20 lakh new shares to the lenders, 20 crore divided by rupees 100. And by this internal restructuring of the company is done, the debt will get reduced, equity get increased, financial ratios decreases, debt reduction, increased equity, and simple things. You all know about this. Interesting, understood, but गवर्नमेंट के केस में वो कंपल्सरली कर सकता है, पूछेगा नहीं, कर दे. आपको नहीं अच्छा लगा तो कितने दिन में ट्राइब्यूनल के पास जाना है? If you're not happy with the government's order of conversion, within how many days you can file an appeal? Yes, Anubhav, definitely he will get. Ashilesha, 60 days. Excellent, excellent. Deepika, Pujabi, very good. Navneet Maurya, yes, nice. Navneet was asking how to determine non-cash consideration. I hope now you're clear about that point. Okay, somebody was asking what is the difference between sweat equity shares and ESOPs. Now, what is the difference? Sweat equity shares are different. Sweat equity shares, children, are given to you when you have done something for the company. You are doing certain, you are giving a technical know-how, you're providing knowledge to the company, intellectual property, rather than the monetary consideration. Equity compensation is given to the shareholders. So we told you that instead of that, imagining the sweat that the company is offering, is offered on some addition. Very good, Kuldeep. It is offered on some value addition. So you have given me something and I have given you a sweat equity in return of that. Just to retain the key talents of my company. You're such a talented person. You're giving me technical know-how, knowledge, intellectual property rights. So I'm giving you sweat equity shares. And there is a procedure for that, which we have discussed in today. But ESOP is an employee benefit plan. Just to give workers ownership interest in the company. I'm motivating them and I'm improving their performance. ESOPs are given to motivate the employees and improve their performance. I'm giving the right to get the stakeholders in my company. Ownership rights दे रही हूँ आपको, voting rights मिल जाएंगे मेरी company. आप shareholders बन. HDFC Limited used to give number of ESOPs so that to retain the employees, so that they stay in your company. Now that HDFC Limited is over, it has been taken over by HDFC Bank. Okay, so people have really enjoyed the benefits of ESOPs. But sweat equity कुछ करोगे तो मिलेगा. ESOPs तो company की policy, company decide. Yes, they are issued at discount. Shamli, very good. But ESOPs are not issued at discount. Excellent. Good, good, good. Anybody else coming up with any differences between sweat equity and ESOPs? So today I have come to know one point, that my dear students are studying accounts also very well, because they understand all these terms of debts, restructuring, internal restructures, and how the creditors are being paid, how the convertible debentures are being issued. So that's wonderful. Give yourself a patting from my side. Very well done. Future date for ESOPs. Very good, Navneet. Here, a predetermined price at a future date. There, you will give this. Give me sweat, I'll give you equity. Very good, Anubhav. Yes, you do something for me, I'll give you shares in that exchange of that. Shamli Sharma, good point. Okay. Mustafa has it out. I'll watch your lectures, your explanation amazing. I work, but when I read my own, I can't with GST accounts and auditing. How we bifurcate? Okay. Mustafa is asking how to bifurcate law from GST accounts. GST is totally different. You are understanding taxation laws. And auditing, Mustafa, you have to study auditing from a very different perspective mindset. Children, when you are doing, he's asking, ma'am, I generally get mixed up when I'm learning in law and then I have to bifurcate the concepts with the auditing. So children, auditing is totally a different concept. Whenever you open your auditing books, just remember that you are an article who is working in an office and you have been appointed as an auditor of a company. उसको उस पर्सपेक्टिव से पढ़ना है, लर्न ही वैसे करना है कि मैंने कैसे सैंपल चेकिंग करनी है, मैंने कौन से प्रिंसिपल्स अप्लाई करने हैं, वो तो प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच से ऑडिटिंग पर. GST accounts is totally different, Mustafa. How can you mix it with? But law is more about understanding, about at times about mucking up also, because SROR, you understand what is SROR, but you have to learn. So learning part is very, very important. Making notes, writing it down, highlighters, different pens is a must when you are a law student. So CA intermediate law cannot be learned just by reading from the book and choosing it. You have to have your colorful pens, highlighters, notes. Everything should be highlighted in such a way that you just have to flip the pages just the day before the exams. All right? Understood? Very good. Sweat equity, only directors and employees, permanent employees, but here you are having ESOPs. Very good, Jaya Manocha. Good. Okay, so let's take a small break here because we have done huge section. Yes, Harsh, definitely. That's why we are just trying to divide and trying to go a little slow so that it becomes easy for you. So please go through section 62. I have a huge homework for you for 10 minutes. Let's take a small break here and revise section 62. After that, we'll be proceeding towards reduction and buyback of securities. So we are taking a break. All right, welcome back, students. Anyone having any doubts till here? Yes, Sabya, absolutely. They have to be exercised at an exercise price at a later date. Sweat equity again can be for cash or non-cash consideration. All right. So let's proceed ahead. Let's do section 63. After section 62, we have section 63, that is bonus shares. Now, children, bonus shares, we are not charging anything. We are giving you bonus out of your free reserves, security premium account, capital redemption reserve account. However, it shall not be issued if capital reserves are created by revaluation of assets. So, no revaluation reserve to be used for bonus shares. Only the free reserves, that is out of profits. SPA amount, remember SPA section 54 when we did. SPA can be used for paying premium on reduction, writing of preliminary, issuing fully paid bonus shares. So SPA can be used. CRR under section 55, we learned when we have created CRR, the only purpose of CRR is to pay fully paid bonus shares. And what is the third resource? Free reserves created out of profits can be used for giving fully paid bonus shares to the employees, not out of the revaluation of assets. Now, second important, first part is this, the sources, how the bonus shares are given. Second part is, can we give the bonus shares in lieu of dividend? There is a company which is running in losses. It is not paying the dividend. Even after the profits, it did not want to pay the dividend. Instead of that, it gave the bonus shares to the company. The answer is no. This is not possible. Bonus shares can be given in addition to the dividend, but they are never given in lieu of dividend, means dividend ki jagah par nahi de sakte. Now again, section 63 also has a procedure, like we had a procedure for DVRs, like we had a procedure for rights issue. There are certain requirements for issue of bonus shares. Number one, AO authorization is must. Board will recommend it in the general meeting, then only the bonus shares can be given. Board resolution is must. Company should not have defaulted in payment and interest of fixed deposits or securities issued by it. If you are a company and you have taken fixed deposit from your, now next chapter when you do after debentures, there are chapter of deposits and registration of charges. So there you will understand that sometimes the company take the deposit from its members and pay an interest on the same. So these deposits are to be repaid after certain time. So if you are not paying the interest or the principal money back on the fixed deposits, how can you issue bonus shares? Then you cannot issue bonus shares. If the company is not paying the statutory dues of the employees, not contributing to PF, gratuity, and bonus, then also you cannot give the bonus shares. So you should not be defaulter in paying the statutory due of employees. Partly paid shares outstanding on the date allotment should be made fully paid shares. So only when the fully paid bonus shares हो सकते हैं, partly paid के ऊपर bonus shares नहीं issue. So what are the first 5 conditions? Articles authorized, recommendation by board, no default in statutory dues, no default in fixed deposits, and the partly paid shares should be converted to fully paid. The conditions as prescribed, bonus announced by the board, shall not be withdrawn the same. So board, once they have announced the bonus shares, they cannot withdraw it. You cannot say that now we will not be giving the bonus shares. If you have said, you have. Clear? You can read it from the study material. Any doubts? The same points are given in a scattered way over there. When we open it, we will go. Yes, Anubhav Malik, sweat equity shares can be offered at a discount. That is the only exception. ESOPs are not offered at a discount. They are at the predetermined rate. There is a difference between having a discount and the predetermined rate. Predetermined rate means company ने पहले से ही rate तय करके रखा है, ये decide करा, discount नहीं दे. Very good, Kuldeep. That's great. ESOPs can be given to directors. Absolutely, they can be given. Ramchand, Arun Kumar, correct answers for the previous one. Commandery, in case of conversion of debt, should be the same rights as in case of government order authorized. Yes, yes, absolutely. Commandery, the government will also get the right of the ownership also. Authorized share capital has been increased. That's correct. Authorized share capital definitely will get increased, Commandery, and that's why we are altering the memorandum of association. Okay. Anil, we have done section 62, all the subparts. Section 63 is over. Now we're going to start with section 64. Also, we did another section. I'm forgetting which one we did in the starting. Yes, Mustafa, only when you're having profits. That's correct. If you are anyways suffering losses, you cannot issue. E part simply says the Jaya Manocha that the partly paid shares should be made fully paid shares. Then only you can issue the bonus shares. So if you have 8 rupees shares, actually payment is 10. First make them fully paid shares. Then only you issue the bonus shares. So bonus shares are always given on the fully paid shares, not on the partly paid shares. Notice to be given to the registrar for alteration of share capital. Section 64 is a very small section. Yes, we did section 59 also, Anil, today. Notice to be given to the registrar for alteration of share capital. If you're altering your share capital, simply section 64 tells you that अगर आपने share capital को alter करा है, तो SH7 में 30 days में आपने ROC को बताना है that we have either increased or decreased the share capital. Any alteration which has been made under section 61 or because of the government's order you have made the alteration or redemption of any redeemable preference shares. These 3 cases, if your share capital has been altered, you need to inform the registrar with the form SH7 within 30 days of the alteration. And if you don't tell the registrar, section 64 imposes a penalty on you, 500 rupees for each day, subject to maximum 5 lakh in case the company, it is 5 lakhs to 1 lakh in case of the officer in default. Okay, so the maximum penalty 5 lakhs to 1 lakh can continue if you fail to continue this default. Simple, section 64 is done. It's very, very simple. Now we will go to the study material. We will be completing reduction of share capital, which we have already started in the previous class. And now we are going to complete the same. So children, issue of bonus shares, they're issued in proportion to the company's current shareholding. Bonus shares is nowhere defined in the Companies Act. It is a condition highlighted to pay the manner of issue of fully paid bonus shares are only given. Okay. If company decides to pay the bonus shares in the ratio of 1:2, means every 2 shares held, 1 will be given. Holder of 100 shares will get 550 bonus shares without making any payment. Here his holding of shares will now be 150 instead of 100. इसपे पेमेंट नहीं देनी होती आपने, okay? Free of cost होते हैं bonus shares. It is an accretion. They're just trying to make you understand with the help of a case law, Standard Chartered Bank versus Custodian, that undistributed profits of the company retained under the head capital for the further issue of bonus shares. Bonus shares can only be issued out of the not out of the revaluation reserve, only out of the free reserves. Okay. It is a property which comes into existence with an entity of its own and capable of being bought and sold. So it's an additional right, additional share that we have given, increase in the capital of the company. Your capital from the reserve, it goes back to the capital account and the share capital is also increased. They shall never be reissued from the revaluation reserve. We have already done articles, recommendation of board, not defaulted, partly paid shares should be made fully paid, and one's decision cannot be withdrawn. it is permissible for the company to capitalize the profits for issuing fully paid bonus shares or paying any amount for the time being unpaid or the shares held by the members of the company. So again, fully paid shares के ऊपर ही होता है, not on the partly paid shares. Bonus can be issued to partly paid shares, yes or no? No, ma'am. It can only be issued against fully paid shares. Partly paid shares should be made fully paid. तो कोई भी अगर पार्टली पेड शेयर्स है उनको पहले फुली पेड कर दो ना, 8 रुपए तो 10 रुपए 2 रुपए मंगवा कर उन्हें फुली. Notice to be given to the registrar, Asset 7, you will give the notice for alteration under 61. 1 means increase in the share capital. 62.4, read with 62 means government has converted, and redemption of redeemable preference shares also any increase has to be informed. Now let's start with a very, very important and interesting section, that is reduction of share capital. So I told you that it is not easy to reduce the capital because the creditors will be adversely affected. My shareholders who are having stake in my company will be adversely impacted. Therefore, a closely fenced power is given under section 68. Before we start with section 68, yes, Anil, you will have to first call them the 2 rupees amount. You make them fully paid, then only the bonus shares can be issued. It can never be issued on the partly paid shares. Before we start reduction, can we say any alteration happening in the authorized share capital where I'm doing consolidation, cancellation, subdivision? Is it reduction of share capital? Yes or no? Very good. When I'm redeeming my preference shares, is it called reduction of share capital? Absolutely. So what is the reduction of share capital? How my share capital get reduced? It get reduced under 3 different ways. Number 1, reducing the liability on the shares in respect of which is not paid. So I told you, if I have shares of rupees 100 per share, rupees 70 have been called up and paid by the people. I have decided to reduce the price up till rupees 70 only. I'm not going to ask for rupees 30. That means I have reduced the liability of the share. I have extinguished the rupees 30. मतलब मैंने हटा दिया है, remove कर दिया है. I have made it finished. Rupees 30 is finished. So now I have reduced the liability. It is reduction of share. You have cancelled the paid up share capital which is lost or unrepresented. So I have assets of rupees 100 crores, but I can only find the assets in, I have liability of 100 crores. I can only find the assets of 85 in front of it. So 15 crores balance will be written off and 85 lakh is equal to 85 balance. So here, if my assets are not represented according to the capital, I will write off that share capital. And if I have got excessive share capital, I will repay back to the shareholders. I wanted 10 crores. I have got 15 crores. I will give back excess of 5 crore paid up capital. And that is also reduction of share capital. So these are the 3 methods by which share capital can be reduced. Now, what is the method of reducing? By passing a special resolution. Memorandum will be altered because you're reducing the amount of share capital and number of shares are also reduced. Repayment of the deposits or interest shall not be in arrear. Now, my dear students, I told you deposits. I have taken deposits from members or non-members. 100 crore का मैंने deposit लिया हुआ है members से, 10 crore का non-members से. कंपनी चलाने के लिए मैं लोन भी ले रही हूँ, डिपॉजिट भी ले रही हूँ. एफडीज होती है ना, जैसे फिक्स डिपॉजिट, उसके ऊपर हम इंटरेस्ट पे करते हैं. ऐसी ही कंपनी ने फिक्स डिपॉजिट्स लिए हुए. अब मैंने इनके 100 करोड़ नहीं पे करे, 10 करोड़ नहीं पे करे और मैं रिडक्शन कर रही हूँ शेयर कैपिटल. लॉ विल नॉट अलाउ मी. How can you reduce your share capital unless and until you have not repaid your deposits? So you should never be a defaulter in deposits. If you are a defaulter in deposits or in trust, you can never do the reduction of share. So the 3 important conditions are SR is required, MOA will be altered, and no default in the deposits. No default in the deposits. A company is having a share of rupees 10 and they have called rupees 7. Same has been paid up by all the shareholders. Company decided not to call rupees 3 per share. Can we say it has done reduction? Yes, ma'am. Company has reduced its share capital from rupees 10 to rupees 7 fully paid. This is the case of reduction of share capital. How can the company do that? By altering the MOA, by passing the SR, and should not have made the default in the deposits. Now, order of tribunal permission has to be taken. If the company is reducing its share capital, it is a very big thing. So you have to take the permission from the tribunal if you want to reduce your share capital. Tribunal will make the application to central government, registrar, SEBI, and creditors of the company. Tribunal will ask the government, I hope you don't have any problem if they're reducing the share capital. Registrar, is it okay? SEBI, I hope listed company has complied with everything. They're reducing the share capital. And the creditors of the company, tribunal will also give an application to the creditors. Creditors को पूछेगा कि आपकी पेमेंट वगैरह हो रही है ना, कंपनी आपका ध्यान तो रख रही है, कंपनी तो अपनी शेयर कैपिटल रिड्यूस करने जा रही है, क्या उन्होंने आपकी रीपेमेंट कर दी, क्या आपके लोन के अगेंस्ट सिक्योरिटी दी है उन्होंने? Tribunal will go and make an application to the creditors. Are you properly secured? Has the company given sufficient provision for you? Then only he will allow the company to reduce the share capital. He will take the representations made by each one of them for the period of 3 months. तो 3 महीने का टाइम लेगा ट्राइब्यूनल इन सब से रिप्रेजेंटेशंस लेगा, सेबी से, सीजी से, रजिस्ट्रार से एंड क्रेडिटर से. एमसीक्यू बेस्ड क्वेश्चन. Tribunal will take the confirmation from which 4 parties before passing the orders for the reduction of share capital? SEBI, CG, registrar, and creditors of the company. The power of CG is now delegated to regional directors. पहले सीजी के पास जाते थे, अब सीजी बहुत बड़ा है, उसके पास इतना काम नहीं है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का कि मैं सबका ये भी देखूं कंपनी में कि किस तरह से नोटिस आ रहे. तो उन्होंने ये पावर रीजनल डायरेक्टर्स को डेलीगेट कर दी कि रीजनल डायरेक्टर्स, you see this work of government, whether this power can be exercised or not. If no representation has been received in 3 months, then it will be presumed there is no objection. Please go and do the reduction. Considering the representation is statutory requirement, not admitted it in full. It is statutorily required means legal hai, lena pade. An application for registration of share capital received by NCLT in November 2022 from an unlisted public company. So it is an unlisted public company. तो SEBI के पास जाने की जरूरत है, जल्दी बताओ. Unlisted public company अपनी share capital reduce करे. Should I go to SEBI? No, ma'am. Listed नहीं है तो ना जाओ ना. Yes, Mustafa, you can issue in that way also. There is no problem. Then to whom all we will go? He'll go to the concerned RD, ROC and creditors. On 28th November 2022, he has sent an application. So by when he should get this? The notice to RD was sent in registered post which reached on 1st December. So they shall make the representation December, Jan, Feb. 3 months they should receive. Tribunal is not bound to consider. If any representations made thereafter, tribunal will not consider. Means 3 महीने का time period होना चाहिए. अगर CG representation दे रहा है 1st May को, will the tribunal bound to consider it? So on 1st December it has reached and 28th February तक आ जाना चाहिए. If we are getting the reply back on 1st May, will the tribunal consider this? Yes or no? Absolutely no. Very good, Pooja. B, Navneet, Jaya, Shamli, excellent. Good, Prerna, everybody. Adil. Order of tribunal. Tribunal will make the order confirming the reconstruction reduction only if it is satisfied that the claim of the creditor has been discharged. Discharge means creditors have been paid off. क्या आपने पे कर दिए creditors? Determined. क्या आपने provision बनाई है? कितना पे करना है? क्या आपने security दी है उन्हें? आपने लोन लिया है किसी से तो आपने उसको सिक्योरिटी दी है कि कल को अगर हमने पैसा ना दिया तो हमारी बिल्डिंग सेल कर लेना. Are the creditors secured? Are they paid? Are they determined? Have you taken their consent? So this is very important. Tribunal will make the order only after taking confirmation that every creditor has been paid or determined or secured or his consent has been taken. and the accounting treatment proposed by the company should be as per the accounting standards. So accounting standards are laid down under section 133. So those accounting standards should have been followed. Then only the company can do the reduction of share capital. Now, how will tribunal check whether the accounting standards has been followed or not? Do you think that the tribunal court has so much time that they will go and check whether the company is following their accounts or not? Here comes the role of you as chartered accountants. You have made companies auditors report. You have done the audit of the company. So tribunal will simply take a certificate of the auditor's report, has to be filed. Chartered accountant auditor will tell the हाँ जी company बिल्कुल सही काम कर रही है, आप कर दो इसका accounting treatment सही. कौन करेगा ये accounting treatment check? CAs will check, auditors will check, not the tribunal. It's not tribunal's work. So they will only take the certificate from the company's auditor that they are following everything proper. समझ आ गया? Any doubts still here? Anubhav Malik, not compulsory, but still, since we are reading all the forms, you should give it a fair reading. By reading again and again, you tend to remember the forms. This chapter anyways has a lot of technical things more to remember. Yes, absolutely, Anil. Only when he pay ₹2 per share, fully paid shares हो जाएंगे तभी उसे bonus मिलेगा. Definitely, it will impact the earning per share, Anil, because you reduce the capital, so the capital calculation will also get reduced. हो गया? पढ़ लिया सबने? Understood? What are the 4 points that the tribunal should be satisfied? Creditors have been discharged, determined, consent, and secure. Accounting standard treatment will be taken from the company's auditor's report. And once he has confirmed the order of the reduction of share capital, it shall be published by the company in whatever manner the tribunal directs. Within 30 days of the tribunal's order, they will file a copy with the registrar. What is the amount of share capital, how many number of shares it is divided, amount of each share, and the amount deemed to be paid upon each share. अब मतलब अगर हमारा 100 का शेयर 70 का हो गया है तो 1000 रुपीज शेयर कैपिटल है, 700 रह गई है, 100 shares है, whatever is the amount, you have to tell the registrar within 50 days. Will this reduction of share capital means a buyback of securities? I have reduced my share capital, means I have done buyback of securities, yes or no? Next topic coming up, buyback of securities. Excellent, everybody said no. Adil says yes. Adil, why? What is the meaning of buyback, Adil? Tell me. Buyback of securities means when you are purchasing your own securities back from the shareholders. Have I done that? I have reduced my share capital. All right. So here it is not a buyback. So likh lo, reduction of share capital is not a buyback of securities. Okay. A member will be liable to pay the amount, maximum difference between the amount deemed to have been paid and the nominal value of the shares. Reduced amount against the amount that has actually been paid on the share. So whatever is the amount now, so present and past members will only pay the key difference. So if it was now 100 rupees share has become 70 rupees share. So if you have paid 50, pay 20 more, not 50. Okay. Creditor entitled to object but was not included in the list of creditors. Very, very important. अब रिडक्शन ऑफ शेयर कैपिटल में ना अपने आप में छोटे छोटे टॉपिक्स है. ट्राइब्यूनल किसके पास रिप्रेजेंटेशन लेगा, ट्राइब्यूनल कैसे सेटिस्फाई होगा, 30 days, 3 months टाइम पीरियड, एंड क्रेडिटर का अगर आपने नाम नहीं लिया, आप शेयर कैपिटल रिड्यूस कर रहे हो एंड एक क्रेडिटर को पेमेंट देनी थी बट आपने उसका नाम लिस्ट ऑफ क्रेडिटर से ही हटा दिया, गलत करा कि नहीं करा? There was a creditor, Mr. A, who was to be paid off by the company and he was not aware about the proceedings or his nature of interest was not that high. You have committed a default if you have not included his name in the list of directors under the insolvency and bankruptcy. And such a creditor can ask for the remedy, compensation, every person who is a member of the company will have to give him a compensation not exceeding the amount that he was liable to contribute. And if the company has gone in the winding up, then you will make the list of the persons who are liable to contribute and will ask them to make all the voluntary contributions. Let's take a simple example. There was a creditor, Mr. A, to whom the company was liable to pay rupees. What is this? To whom the company was liable to pay rupees 2,000. But when we made the list of creditors, this Mr. A's name was not included. Why it was not included? Either because of the ignorance, so it was held, his name was not entered because of his ignorance of the proceedings, or the nature of interest was not that high. So company has committed a default under bankruptcy and insolvency. Now, can the creditor ask that this claim should be made good? Remedy available to such creditor. What is the solution available to such unpaid creditor? If the company is already operational, then every person will have to pay the amount of such debt. Means 2,000 rupees was liable, not exceeding the amount that he would have been liable to contribute if the winding up would have started. Means 2,000 ka tha, to 2,000 rupees usko pay. And tribunal will make an application on such creditor, settle a list of persons and make and enforce the calls for the contributor. So if we have gone into winding up, then tribunal will decide who all will pay this amount. अगर तो आप ऑलरेडी बिजनेस कर रहे हो तो हर बंदा पे करेगा 2,000 इसको जो क्लेम देना था. अगर आप वाइंडिंग अप में हो तो ट्राइब्यूनल. Example 25 will make this thing more clear. Name and interest of Mr. Nilanjan Iyer, a creditor of Modern Furniture Limited, has been kept outside the list of creditors while the company did the reduction of share capital. So company share capital reduce करी under section 66 में उसे list of creditors बनाना था, उसने नाम नहीं include करा. So Mr. Iyer came to know about this and he took a legal action against the company. Number one, can he take the legal action against the company under insolvency and bankruptcy code? Yes, ma'am. As the limitation period has not yet expired, so he was entitled to do so. Exclusion of his name is considered as an offense. Period of limitation is the maximum period given by the statute under which the action can be brought. This limitation act will tell the period of limitation. Remember, time bar dead, 3 years time period as per the limitation act. So limitation act defines the limitation. And any officer who is trying to conceal the name of the creditors or is not telling or is misrepresenting the amount of debt, 447. आप कुछ भी fraud कर रहे हो, encourage कर रहे हो crime को, copyright कर रहे हो, 447 will be. 447 is punishment for fraud. Punishment for fraud. So reduction of share capital, 3 cases: extinguishment, reducing for the unrepresented assets, and paying off the excessive capital. SR is required, AO will authorize, no default in the deposits. Tribunal will pass the order after hearing the representation from 4 parties. Which are these 4 parties? RD, ROC, SEBI. अगर listed है तो SEBI, नहीं है तो फिर SEBI. Creditors. He has to be satisfied that the creditor's claim is either secured, determined, paid off, or consent has been taken. Final and reduction of share capital will be done. कोई बात नहीं अनुभव मलिक, एक बार ही पढ़ना पड़ेगा खुद से दोबारा, तब समझ जाएगा. We are just revising. Once we have done the whole topic, then we will go. All right, we have number of questions also related to this, so you'll understand gradually. And the last point is, if the creditor's name is not included in the list, then company has committed a default under insolvency and bankruptcy code. Then there are 2 situations available. If the company is doing its operation, means you're an operational company, then whosoever is the member on the date of order passed by the registrar, they will have to pay this debt. Otherwise, if the company has gone into winding up, फिर tribunal decide करेगा who will pay to this creditor. All right. So what we have to simply remember, if you have not included in the list of directors the name of the creditor, you have committed a default under insolvency and bankruptcy code. And if it is a running operation, then ऐसे pay कर देना. अगर winding up है तो tribunal decide. All right. क्या पूछ रहे हैं? Limitation. इसने लिखा limitations का. Section 67. Ashilesha, you're asking anything? Aditya, profits, free reserves are created out of profits. Capital reserves are out of revaluation of assets. Somebody was asking anything. अभी क्वेश्चंस करेंगे बेटा रिडक्शन ऑफ शेयर कैपिटल पे तो और क्लियर हो जाए. लिमिटेशन एक्ट क्या है? अनुभव मलिक, लिमिटेशन एक्ट मीन्स वेयर द टाइम पीरियड इज गिवन within which your liabilities should be paid off. Okay. So if the time is still available, then only you can take the claim. Otherwise, you cannot take. Section 67 very very important. 66 से भी ज्यादा important है. Section 67. Restriction on purchase by company or giving loans by it for the purchase of its shares. Children, section 67 says, can the company give loan to its employees to buy their shares in their company? I am a company ABC Limited and I want public to take up shares in my company, but people are not taking up shares. So I give loan to my employees that please buy the shares of my company. Section 67 prohibits the company from giving any kind of loans. Company limited by shares of guarantee having a share capital cannot buy its own shares unless the reduction of share capital is effected. That means you're buying your own shares. आप अपने employees को पैसा दे रहे हो कि company के shares खरीद. Public company cannot give any loan or guarantee or financial assistance to its employees for subscribing the shares in its company or holding company. So no financial assistance can be given by the company to its employees or shareholders so that they can buy the shares in your company. But there are 3 exceptions to this rule. Number 1, if you're a banking company काम होता है लोन लेना, उसको कैसे मना कर सकते हो आप? So banking company can give loan in the ordinary course of business, उसको मना नहीं. Provision of money for purchase of fully paid shares in the company by trustees or on behalf of employees according to employee share schemes approved through ESOP. Now, if you're a company and you have passed special resolution and you have made an employee share schemes, then this is an exception. You can give money for purchasing fully paid shares in your company. So what are the 2 exceptions? If you're a banking company, number 1 rule क्या कहते हैं? You cannot give financial assistance to your employees for buying the shares of your company. Clear? 2 exceptions. If you're a banking company in the ordinary course of business, yes, ma'am, you can lend money. If you are lending the money under employee share schemes, fully paid shares will be taken up. SR has been passed. Yes, you can do. 3rd case, just a question up. If you want to lend the money to your employees other than the directors or KMPs, directors and KMPs को नहीं देना. And कितना पैसा दे रहे हो? Less than 6 months of the salary, so that they can buy fully paid shares in your company by the way of beneficial ownership, then also it is allowed. So what are the 4 points? Can you give the amount to the employees less than 6 months of salary for buying fully paid shares? And it is not a director or KMP. Then yes, it is allowed. Then yes, it is allowed. Sangeeta, you were raising hands. Do you want to ask anything? Yes, Sangeeta. Employees less than 6 months of salary, fully paid shares, not a director or KMP, then yes, it is allowed to give financial assistance. So there are 3 different points. If you're a banking company in the ordinary course of business, you can lend money. Employee share scheme में lend कर रहे हो, fully paid shares के लिए SR pass कर allowed है. Yes, Kuldeep, you want to ask something? Mr. Kuldeep, you want to ask something? Okay. Clear हो गया? And
हेलो।
if you explain, yes, Kuldeep.
ये टू बी में जो आपने बताया अभी, एम्प्लॉय शेयर स्कीम, इज इट इक्वल टू ईसोप और इट इज समथिंग डिफरेंट?
It is different. So we have already signed a scheme with you that SR has been passed that yes, we will be giving you assistance for buying the fully paid shares in the company or its holding by trustees. So on behalf of employees or trustees, if you're buying, so this scheme which we have given you, for that we can lend you loan. This is not at all for ESOPs. ESOPs are the options which are given to the employees to buy the shares at a later.
ओके, थैंक यू।
Yeah. Okay, Kuldeep. Sangeeta, you also wanted to ask something. All right. All right, let's proceed ahead. Clear 3 points exceptions. And any contravention, 1 lakh rupees till 25 lakhs will be the penalty. And for the officer, it's 1 lakh to 25 lakhs again, and imprisonment for 3 years. So be very careful. You cannot provide any loan or assistance to its employees for purchasing the shares. Why? Because there is a restriction under Section 67. But if you're a banking company, if you're doing an employee share schemes, or you're giving less than 6 months of the salary of the employees, fully paid shares to its company and holding, दोनों please ध्यान से याद रखिए, holding company को भी allowed, ठीक है? Then it is allowed. Now, Rule 16 says in case the shares are listed, such purchase shall be made only through recognized stock exchange. If they're not registered, then registered valuer will tell the valuation. However, wherever you have given them the assistance under these exceptions, the aggregate price of the shares shall not exceed 5% of the paid up share capital and free reserves. Voting rights not exercised directly in respect to which the scheme relates, the name of the employees who have not done the voting rights, reasons for not voting, name of the person. This is just related to voting rights. But this is important that the value of the shares purchased should not exceed 5% of the paid up share capital and free reserves. Okay. Non-applicability of Section 67, it is not applicable to private companies which has not defaulted, IFSC public company and Nidhi companies. तो ये 3 companies को Section 67 की restrictions नहीं लगेंगी. Private company which is not defaulted, IFSC public company, because the borrowings in such company are generally twice than the share of paid up share capital, whichever is lower, and company who has not defaulted in the borrowings while making such transactions. Let us do certain questions so that we can get a clarity on these topics. So the first question is, Shilpi developers owed to Sunil rupees 10,000. On becoming this debt payable, the company offered Sunil 100 shares of rupees 100 each in full settlement of the debt. The said shares were allotted to Sunil as fully paid shares in lieu of his debt. Can examine the validity of this allotment under Companies Act. What is happening in this case? Company owed debt to Sunil. That means he was a creditor of the company. Can we convert the debt into equity under Section 62, subsection 1, clause C? Yes. Can it happen? Section 62, subsection 3. So at any time, share capital proposes to increase the share capital by issuing for a consideration other than cash, equity shares can be issued by special resolution and the price to be determined by the registered bank. So here he is not a member, he is an outsider. We are issuing the shares to him in lieu of his debt. Then yes, SR will be required and registered value valuation is required. In the present case, since the consideration other than cash, उसने लिखा है ना in full settlement of the debt. Debt की जगह पे आप उसे shares दे रहे हो. So registered valuer will tell the valuation of the shares, how they should be done in compliance with the provisions of Chapter 3 and other conditions. All right. Clear? Let us do one very important question. This bonus shares you can see later on. Okay. Reduction of share capital करते हैं. Authorized share capital of the company is rupees 5 crore divided into 50 lakh equity shares. Company has issued 30 lakh equity shares and the company has so called rupees 8 per share and it was paid. Later, it decided to reduce the nominal value from rupees 10 to rupees 8. They want to carry the following proposals: reduction in the authorized share capital from 5 crore divided into 50 lakh of rupees 10 into 4 crore into 50 lakhs of rupees 8. Can they do that? Conversion of 30 lakh partly paid up shares of rupees 8, relieving the shareholders from making further payment. State the procedure to be followed by the company. Tell me, what will you do in this question? Navneet, I hope you're clear about the employee share scheme now. Kuldeep says yes. You have to give me the reason, bacha. They can't reduce authorized share capital. Are you sure? Yes, they are same, and then registered value or the valuation done. It's absolutely same. All right. Let's quickly see how you have to answer this question. So for procedure to be carried out for reducing the nominal value of the share, section 66 will be applicable. I told you first one is the exact case of extinguishing or reducing the liability, either with or without extinguishing, or cancel the shares or paid off the liability. So first you always have to give the law. Special resolution will be required to be passed in any of these three cases. We are trying to reduce the capital. Also, the tribunal's order has to be taken. He will ask the creditors if they are justified, everything is fine. 3 months time will be given to them. Tribunal's order will be passed, and after the tribunal's order, it has to be filed a copy with the registrar as well. Now, what will happen in this case? First, he has given you the procedure of reduction of share capital. Second is the case of alteration of share capital. Reducing the share capital, हमने कहा ना 10 रुपए का शेयर 8 रुपए का कर दिया, तो yes, you can do that. You can alter the share capital. इसने first वाले में हमने provision देनी है and answer लिख देना yes, reduction can happen. Second one is he altering the share capital. The present share capital is 5 crore. He is altering it to 4 crore. Here also, if it is authorized by the articles, he can cancel the shares which are not taken up. Within 30 days of the shares so consolidated and converted, you have to file an altered memorandum with the registrar also. What is the procedure to be? And you have to follow the above procedure for altering your authorized share capital. So two different cases are given. One is the case of reduction of share capital, जहाँ पे आप section 66 लिखोगे. Second is the case of conversion. Fourth point of section 61 of alteration of share capital. ठीक है? अब ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत ही ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है क्वेश्चन. कोई बात नहीं अगर अभी नहीं भी लर्न नहीं हुआ है ना, आज ही तो पढ़ा है, टाइम लगेगा एवरीबडी. 3B प्लीज एक्सप्लेन. जया मनोचा, व्हाट 3B? 3B क्या है? कहाँ पे लिखा है 3B? ओके, लेट्स डू दिस क्वेश्चन. OLF लिमिटेड अ सब्सिडरी ऑफ PQR लिमिटेड, मतलब ये होल्डिंग कंपनी है, ये सब्सिडरी है, और होल्डिंग कंपनी लोन दे रही है 4 लाख रुपीस का to its human resource manager, Mr. Surya, who does not fall within the category of KMP, and he's getting a salary of 40,000 per month to buy 500 partly paid up shares of rupees 1,000 each. कितना लोन दे रही है कंपनी? 4 लाख रुपीस. किसको दे रही है? एम्प्लॉय को दे रही है who is not a director and not a KMP. 6 month सैलरी कितनी होती है? 40,000 into 6, 2,40,000. लेस देन 6 months ऑफ द सैलरी दे रहा है फॉर बाइंग दिस फुली पेड अप, पार्टली पेड अप शेयर्स. फुली पेड अप शेयर्स होना चाहिए था ना. सो पार्टली पेड अप शेयर्स के लिए नहीं चलेगा. एंड होल्डिंग कंपनी का केस भी अलाउड होता है. फटाफट से देख लो आंसर. एम्प्लॉय मस्ट नॉट बी डायरेक्टर. अमाउंट शुड नॉट एक्सीड 6 months. इट शुड बी फॉर फुली पेड शेयर्स. फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस लिखोगे. अमाउंट इज मोर देन 6 months. सॉरी, मोर देन दे रही है ना. 2,40,000 से तो ज्यादा है ना. 4 लाख दे रहे हैं. एंड द लोन इज टू बी गिवन इज मेंट फॉर द परचेज ऑफ पार्टली पेड अप शेयर्स. देयरफॉर in keeping the above views, it is not valid. It is not valid. Okay. Clear? Everybody? Good. Jaya Manocha, Savya, excellent. Navneet Maurya. Yes, Anubhav Malik. Absolutely correct. Kuldeep Nagar board resolution approval. Good. बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन अप्रूवल. इस पे बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन की अप्रूवल क्यों चाहिए आपको? किस क्वेश्चन की बात कर रहे हो? Of course, Mustafa, you'll get all these notes. Why you worried? Very good, Jaya. It should be on fully paid shares. Clear हो गया सबको? So I just wanted to do this question just to tell you that theory बहुत vast है. हमें कई बार मुश्किल लगेगा कि बहुत ज्यादा सिलेबस है, लर्न करना है. But since you have seen how the practical applications happen, so keep doing the questions and keep learning the text and keep doing the questions. Gradually you will learn. Okay. So now last two sections are left, section 68 and debentures, which we'll do complete the syllabus today. And still, if anything will be left, don't worry at all. We will take up it on Monday. Okay. Section 68. And I'm going to take some questions also more on Monday so that I know that you have revised it. Then only there is fun of answering. If I only keep telling you the answers, then there is no fun. All right. Okay, Anil. Good. Section 68 is about purchasing your own securities means buyback. अब आपने ये सब सुना हुआ है, आपको आता है अकाउंट्स में रिड्यूस करना, ऑल्टर करना. सिर्फ थ्योरी पढ़ रहे हैं इसलिए थोड़ा ज्यादा लग रहा है कि कहीं ओआर है, एआर है, बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन है, तो वो लर्न करने से हो जाए. Section 68 talks about purchasing your own securities means buyback. Specified securities includes ESOPs and other securities also. ESOPs को भी buyback कर सकते हैं. Yes, ma'am, कर सकते हैं. Preference shares को भी कर सकते हैं, कर सकते हैं. So you can buy back the securities. How will you buy back? Out of free reserve, security premium, and proceeds of the issue of any shares. So I want to buy back the equity shares. I issued the preference shares and buy back equity shares. Yes, ma'am, we can do that. Can I issue the equity shares and buy back equity shares only? No, ma'am. Why will you do that? Why did you issue the equity shares then? Buyback of specified securities cannot be made out of the proceeds of the same issue. So proceeds of any shares, I can issue preference shares or debentures and I can buy back equity. But for buying back the equity, I cannot issue the equity and buy back the equity. सबको पता है ना ये. So free reserve security premium same bonus वाला. Free reserves SPA हम पढ़ते आ रहे हैं शुरू से. सिर्फ एक नई चीज है proceeds of the issue. Redemption के लिए भी यही था. Proceeds of the issue use होता. Conditions for buyback. पहली condition तो सब में सेम है. AOA होना चाहिए. SR पास होना चाहिए. और तो सिर्फ दो जगह पढ़ा था हमने. ऑल्टरेशन में पढ़ा है और उसमें DVR. सब में तो SR आ रहा है उसके बाद, है ना. सो SR इज ऑल्सो कॉमन थिंग. SR पास होना चाहिए फॉर बायबैक. अब आता है जैसे स्वेट इक्विटी शेयर्स में प्रोविजंस थी, वैसे ही बायबैक में परसेंटेज की प्रोविजंस. Buyback should not be more than 10% of the total equity capital plus free reserves of the company. This should be authorized by the Board of Resolutions. Should not be more than 25% of the aggregate paid up capital and free reserves. Maximum buyback 25% नहीं हो सकता. स्वेट इक्विटी में भी ऐसी कंडीशन थी, वहां 15% और 25 था. तो जहां पे सेम सेम है ना, उनको एक दिन में याद कर लेना। स्वेट इक्विटी, डीवीएस, बायबैक एक ही दिन में याद कर, बोनस, राइट्स इशू, वो सारे मिलते जुलते हैं, एक ही दिन में याद कर। डिबेंचर्स अलग है, डिबेंचर्स को डिपॉजिट्स के साथ याद करना है। इस तरह से चार्ट बनाकर, दैट इज हाउ यू हैव टू रिमेंबर एंड लर्न द थिंग्स चिल्ड्रन। First day, first time, everybody finds it tough. When we hear it, we grasp the information. When we read it, revise it, we put it here, we learn it, we understand, we do the practical questions, and everything is finally in our brains. 4 reading has to be given, then only it goes here. Otherwise, it will not. So special resolution is not necessary. SR कब नहीं pass करना? When buyback is less than 10% of the total paid up equity capital plus free reserves. So if my buyback of the companies, if my equity share capital is 10 crores and free reserves is 2 crores. So total is 12 crores. If I'm just doing the buyback of 1.2, then SR is not required. Any buyback more than 1.2, SR will be required. Or if I have taken the authorization from board, then also SR is not required. So SR कब नहीं चाहिए मुझे? SR is not required if it is less than 10% and if board have authorized, then no SR. Buyback should not be more than, what is the maximum limit? 25% of the total paid up capital. यहाँ पे preference share भी include करना है, लिखो अपने हाथ से. In the maximum limit, preference share capital is also included. So if my equity is 10 crore, preference is 20 crore, free reserves is 20 crores. What will be the maximum amount of buyback? 10 plus 20 plus 20. 50, 50 का 25% कितना हुआ? 12.5. It cannot be more than 12.5 crores. Very good, Anil. That's great. Yes, Mustafa, absolutely. Very good, Shamli. You all have done buyback and accounts also. Then you should be answering the questions. So clear, everybody? 25% is clear? Yes, 12.5 crores, Aditya. Absolutely good. What should be the ratio of debt equity ratio? It should not be more than 2. So 2:1 should be the debt equity ratio. Shares should be fully paid up. Where have we read that the shares should be fully paid up before this? In case of bonus shares. And also in case of exceptions under section 67, it can only be giving assistance for fully paid bonus shares. If you are a listed company, whose regulations you have to follow? SEBI. If you're not listed company, then you have to follow Companies Act. Clear ho gaya? Buyback, no buyback should be made within 1 year from the date of preceding buyback. So what is the lock-in period when you cannot make the buyback? You cannot make the buyback 1 year from the date of the previous buyback. What is the procedure for buyback? A notice will be sent giving all full complete disclosure of the material facts. What is the need for buyback? What are the securities to be purchased, amount to be invested, and time limit for completing the buyback. Children, what is the time limit for completing? Within 12 months from the date of board resolution or SR, the buyback should be complete. So what are the dates to remember? If I have passed the resolution on 1st October 2024, buyback should be completed by 1st October 2025. If I have done my buyback on 1st November 2024, then by which date I cannot do the further buyback? Then till 31st October 2025, I cannot do the further buyback securities. Clear, everyone? Everyone is clear about this? Good. Securities, the buyback shall be done from the existing stakeholders on the open market or ESOPs. ESOP से भी कर सकते हो, existing shareholder से भी कर सकते हो, proportionate basis पे and open market पे भी कर सकते हो. Now this is the only line important. Declaration of solvency has to be given in form SH9. that we will not be rendered insolvent within a period of 12 months from the date of declaration. So an affidavit has to be taken from the board of directors. Full inquiry will be made in the accounts of the companies that it is capable of meeting its liabilities and will not be rendered insolvent. What is the meaning of insolvent? Insolvent means I don't have sufficient money to pay off my liabilities. So I will have to give SH9 declaration of solvency form that I'm a good company. I have a good financial health. I will be meeting my liabilities for the period of 12 months. Then only I can be allowed the buyback. And this declaration shall be signed by two directors. One of them shall be the managing director. You will file a declaration with SEBI and registrar SH9 that I will be solvent for 12 months period, and two directors, one of them shall be MD, will sign it. Extinguishing my securities. Within how much time the buyback securities shall be extinguished? Finished 7 days of the last day of completion. Cooling period kitna hai? Company will not make the further issue of same kind of securities. Buyback nahi karna 1 साल के लिए, नेक्स्ट 6 मंथ्स के लिए इशू ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज भी नहीं करना है. क्यों नहीं करना बेटा? क्यों नहीं करो? बायबैक क्यों करते हैं हम? Buyback of securities is done because company is trying to tell you that now I have a lot of money. I want to decrease my shareholders. Why don't I only buy back the shares of my company? Since you have shown yourself that you're quite self-sufficient, now next 6 months, don't come up with the issue of shares. That means you're quite self-sufficient. That's why you're doing buyback of securities. So now for next 6 months, you will not issue the similar kind of securities. You will not do the buyback from the same proceeds also. You will not do the buyback of securities for at least 1 year. And you should complete the buyback in 1 year's time. For doing the buyback, a solvency statement has to be filed with the registrar and SEBI. That shall be signed by whom? Two directors. One of them shall be managing director. And what declaration you have to give? That at least for 12 months, I will not be declared insolvent. Good. So I give you 5 minutes break. Absorb the information. बहुत सारा पढ़ लिया हमने. I understand. And don't worry, I am there with you on Monday. Debentures कराऊंगी complete. घबराना नहीं है. अभी भी कराऊंगी. शुरू कराऊंगी debentures. But पूरा complete देखेंगे. अगर अभी हो गया तो अभी 5 minutes की break ले लो. थोड़ा दिमाग शांत करो because बहुत कुछ पढ़ लिया. All right. Clear? Let's take a small break. Please read section 66, 67 and 68. And if you have any doubts, ask. So we're taking a small break here. Yes, students, let's proceed ahead. Any doubts? If company has done buyback, it can do. Navneet Maurya is asking if the company has done buyback of equity. So cooling period, it says company will not make any further issue of securities of same kind within a period of 6 months, except bonus shares such as conversion of bonds, ESOPs, sweat equity, or converting the preference shares or debentures into equity. So your conversions are allowed, but same securities cannot be issued for 6 months more. All right. So if you're issuing ESOPs, you're issuing sweat equity, you're converting a preference, then it's okay. But same securities cannot be issued. Okay, Anil say, yes, ma'am, now it's easy, but it's our duty to prepare. So that's great, Anil. So when you revise it, you'll definitely be able to prepare. Savya Khan, good answer for the previous one. Deep, and I cannot see any doubts. That means everybody has understood. That's great. So you will also maintain a register for buyback in SH10 form, giving all the shares and securities so purchased, cancellation of the shares, extinguishing and physically destroying the shares. Within 7 days, children, you have to destroy also the physical copy of these shares because you have now purchased them back in your own company. A return in SH11 has to be signed and filed with the buyback of securities within 30 days, and a return of SH15 signed by 2 directors that the buyback is also in compliance with the provisions of Act. Otherwise, a fault of 1 lakh till 3 lakh rupees penalty will be paid. So I told you in this chapter number 2 incorporation mein, and this chapter number 4 has huge penalties and huge forms. Keep making a separate list and keep writing down the forms and penalties. याद हो गया तो ठीक है, 2 नंबर के क्वेश्चन एमसीक्यू में कहीं ना कहीं आएगा. Don't waste time in learning the penalties and forms, but make an effort. Since you're learning everything, just make an effort. Otherwise, it's okay not to be worried that my form number or penalty is missing. More important is the content which you're trying to learn. Section 69 is very simple. It says there are transfer of certain sums to CRR. So we have already discussed when the company purchases its own shares out of reserves, a sum equal to the nominal amount of shares so purchased shall be transferred to the CRR. This CRR is used in bonus shares. So CRR में 2 sums जाते हैं. जब कंपनी अपने शेयर्स परचेज करती है and जब redemption of preference shares होता है out of profit. In both these cases, CRR is created, it is disclosed in the balance sheet, and this is used for the payment of bonus. There is certain prohibition on the buyback in securities. No company will direct its own shares of securities. So buyback कब होता है? No company will direct purchase its own securities through subsidiary, including its own subsidiaries. Children, you remember section 19? Subsidiary company cannot buy the shares of holding company, incorporation of company. So section 70 is quite similar to that. That means through your investment company or subsidiary company, you cannot directly or indirectly purchase your shares. If you make any default, simply a default period of 3 years have lapsed. Buyback is not prohibited. Otherwise, if the default is made in repayment of debentures or deposits, then a period of 3 years should have passed. Then only the buyback is possible. Otherwise, you cannot make the buyback. Section 69 and 70 are very simple. You can give them a fair reading. Let's quickly start with debentures. That is section 71. So how you have to do the debentures? First, definition has to be learned. Section 2, clause 30. Debentures are stock, bonds, or other instruments which shows a debt. Debt means a borrowing of the company. Debt means a borrowing of the company. And what is not included in debentures? Any instruments given under Reserve Bank of India, Schedule D, and any other instrument as prescribed by CG, they will not be included. Otherwise, any debentures, bonds, and stocks which shows the borrowings of the company are included under debentures. So, company by passing SR can issue the convertible debentures which can be converted into shares. अभी हमने पढ़ा था ना गवर्नमेंट कंपनी के केस में कि अगर गवर्नमेंट ने डिबेंचर्स दिए हुए हैं तो अगर वो कन्वर्टेबल डिबेंचर्स है तो आप एसआर पास करोगे तो फिर आपको दोबारा एसआर नहीं पास करना पड़ेगा जब आप कन्वर्ट. नो डिबेंचर्स विल हैव वोटिंग राइट्स. डज द डिबेंचर्स हैव वोटिंग राइट्स? नो मैम. ओन है ना, ये तो शेयर्स थोड़ी ना है. Secured debentures can also be issued, means security can be given. They can be secured debentures also, unsecured. Clear? What is the maximum period for issuing the debentures? 10 years. But if you fall under these 4 categories, then you can issue the debentures maximum for 30 years. What was the maximum period for issuing preference shares, students? What was the maximum time period for issuing preference shares? 30 years, Sabir? 20 years. And infrastructure companies के case में, very good, Navneet, Kuldeep, good. 30 years. And what was the condition? 10% starting from the 21st year should start getting redeemed. Very good, Riya Manocha, Sabir, everybody. Debentures can be issued for maximum 10 years. Maximum 30 years किसके लिए है? Companies which are engaged in infrastructure projects, infrastructure finance companies, debt financing, and those which are specified by CG, by National Housing Banking Finance Company for a period exceeding 10 years. So if they are falling under these 4 categories, then it can be more than 10 years, but it cannot be more than 30 years. Now, children, whenever debentures are issued, it is a kind of loan given by the company. So a debenture trustee is appointed and by the company before the issue of prospectus. So debenture trustee will take care of the security which has been given. So there was Mr. A to whom debentures have been issued. So he has given a loan of 1 lakh rupees to the company, and company has given him certain security of his building. So now this building should not be misused, no problem should happen. So company will appoint a debenture trustee before issuing the prospectus. Security by creation of charge, or charge is created. You know the secured debentures, security is provided by creating a charge or mortgage in favor of the debenture trustee. So Mr. A will not get this property. This will be charge will be created in the favor of debenture trustee who is holding this building for Mr. A, that tomorrow if the company fails to repay the loan, this debenture trustee will give this building to Mr. A. So it can be any movable property of the company or subsidiary or holding company, or any immovable property, whatever you want to create as a charge. The value should be sufficient for the due payment of the debentures and interest. So if the debentures are for 1 lakh rupees, whatever property you are giving, it should be equivalent to 1 lakh plus the interest amount which you need to repay on the debentures. And this trust deed will be formed in SH12. Within 3 months of the closure of issue, it has to be created. Trust deed will be made between the company and debenture trustee. 3 महीने के अंदर of the closure of the issue, it has to be created. सबको समझ आ गया डिबेंचर ट्रस्टी क्या होता है? डिबेंचर ट्रस्टी कंपनी अपॉइंट करेगी, and this debenture trustee is holding the property. It should be equivalent to the value of debentures plus the interest. A charge is created, a mortgage that has been created in favor of the debenture trustee, so that tomorrow if company fails to repay, they have given the security. DRR is created, debenture redemption reserve. वहां पे capital redemption reserve था shares में, यहाँ पे debenture redemption reserve out of the profits of the company which are available for dividend. This DRR will be used for the company's redemption of debentures. What is the meaning of redemption of debentures? What is the meaning of redemption of debentures? Tell me. Repayment of debentures. कहाँ से करोगे repay? DRR जो create कर. Okay, very good. Now, requirement of DRR. All the Indian financial institutions regulated by RBI, banking companies and listed companies are not required to create DRR. For unlisted companies other than NBCs, adequate DRR equivalent to 10% of outstanding debentures. So all these financial institutions, they're not required to create DRR. Otherwise, every other company, 10% of the outstanding debentures have to be created. Now, it's very important to understand the method of investment or deposits for debentures which are maturing during the year. If there are debentures maturing during the company on or before 30th April, in respect of the debentures issued, invest or deposit an amount equivalent to 15% of the debentures maturing during the financial year ending of the next year. In the following methods, the amount in DRR should be invested. So amount of debentures which are maturing next year, 15% of the debentures should be invested as deposits with the scheduled bank or unencumbered securities of CGs or Indian Trust. तो इस तरह से आपने 15% जो debentures mature हो रहा है, उसको आपने इन्वेस्ट कर देना है बिफोर 30th April of every year. And the amount that has been invested at any time should not fall 15% of the debentures which are maturing during that year can be used other than redemption for debentures. So basically आप एक DRR create करते हो, 10% of the amount outstanding shall be put in DRR, 15% of the amount of debentures which are maturing in next year should be deposited, and amount, not any amount that you have kept in DRR should not fall below the 15%. So if this year 1 lakh rupees debentures are maturing, so what is 15% of 1 lakh? So 15,000 amount minimum balance DRR may maintain. And what is the amount that you will be investing? Next year you are maturing 2 lakh rupees. So 30,000 amount should be used for investing, and this DRR should not fall below 50%. If you're a private company, then you don't need to issue the prospectus. Restrictions on the issue of prospectus prior to issuing the prospectus and offer to be made exceeding 500 for the subscription of debentures, company will appoint one or more debenture trustees. So if you are inviting the public or its members 500 or more, then you need to appoint the debenture trustees. In other cases, all the in case of public offer of debentures, in all other cases, appointment and removal of debenture trustee is done. How the debenture trustee is appointed, let's discuss. So eligibility of debenture trustee is very, very important, which I'm not going to take up right now because it's little lengthy and require a cool mind with all of you. So eligibility of debenture trustee, I'm leaving as of now, which will be taken up with you on Monday. I just want to take up this last topic. You have understood that there is a debenture trustee who is going to take care of my security. How this debenture trustee has to be filled, his vacancy will be filled if the written consent is taken by the majority of the debenture holders. A meeting of debenture holders will be held. 1/10 of the debenture holders says that meeting has to be held, then the meeting has to be. Otherwise, suo motu he feels that there is some kind of breach which is happening, then also they can hold the meeting. So basically, in brief, what we have discussed in debentures are a kind of borrowings which are taken up by the company. डिबेंचर्स के ऊपर हम इंटरेस्ट पे करते हैं, शेयर होल्डर्स ओनरशिप देता है, उसके ऊपर हम इंटरेस्ट पे डिविडेंड पे करते हैं. डिबेंचर्स के केस में आपको बेसिक चीजें व्हाट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर इज that SR needs to be passed if it is a convertible debentures. If you have passed the SR, no need to pass the SR later. It can be a secured debenture, unsecured debentures. Clear? Debentures always have to be redeemed. Debenture redemption reserve is created. 15% of the amount of debentures which are maturing next year have to be used for investment. 15% of the amount of debentures maturing at the year end, the limit, that is the amount of DRR, should never be below that 15% of the amount of debentures which need to be paid during this. मतलब minimum balance, एक है कितना deposit करना है, दूसरा है कितना minimum maintain करना. Debentures can be issued for maximum 10 years period, though only 4 company situation where it can be for 30 years. Debenture trustee is going to take care of your security that you have provided. How the debenture trustee is appointed, who can be the debenture trustee, we will be doing in the next class. So any doubts? Meanwhile, I'll see if I can ask you any more questions. Well, in time we have completed. Oh my God, thank you so much, Shamli, for writing such a wonderful lines. That ma'am, you're the spark, inspiration, and guide, and the candle to my life. I'm deeply thankful to you. Thank you, Shamli. Thank you so much. God bless you, Bacha. Yes, anyone having any doubts, you can ask me. And come prepared in the next class for your section 66, 67, 68. Thank you, Kuldeep Nagar. Company is already providing DRR. So Anil, you have to make sure that there is some trustee who is appointed who's taking care of the security. Na? We cannot directly give the security to the people. Contributories, Jaya, those who are going to make certain contributions when the winding up is happening, how in advance they will plan how the contributors will be giving their amount of shares. Okay. All right. Okay, Anil, Deepika, everybody. Thank you, Deepika. Thank you, children. Thank you, Ditya. So everything is clear. That's great. No more doubts? So like good students, you'll revise everything? Yes, Anubhav Malik. Good. 21%. 10% from 21st year. Good. Yes, Pooja B. Okay. So I can only see the answers. Prerna, Mustafa. Thank you so much, Mustafa. I'm glad you have enjoyed the classes, and thank you, children. Thank you so much. All right. So please revise whatever we have done in today's class. Thank you, Savya. And be prepared for a small test also on Monday, and we'll complete the eligibility of debenture trustee. Just remind me, okay? All right. Yes, Kuldeep, absolutely. It is very much related to your accounts and auditing books. That's great. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. We are done with the topic. Yes. All right.